Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
Welcome to episode 156. How are you, Josh Rohr?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Did you have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Hope had to work, so she had to work overnight on Thanksgiving, so she went in at 3 p.m. So we did a little something like for lunch, and she made turkey and stuff. It was good, but then she had to leave.
So she had to go to work with a food baby?
She did. She did.
That's hard.
Yeah.
That's how you know she's tough.
Yeah, Emma was down here yesterday during virtual group, and she's got that little styrofoam weights with the bench, and she did her first bench press and her first leg extension.
Wow.
Yeah.
So PRs.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice. That's awesome.
It's pretty fun. This is
Was
random,
it with commands?
No, I wouldn't have counted in competition. So she's in timeout today until she gets her act together.
Nice. Okay, random.
I saw this video right before we started recording. It was, I'll have to send it to you, but it's a guy doing stand-up comedy, and he's like, I thought I knew the English language really well until I moved to America, and turns out no, I don't. He's like, the most confusing word I think in English language is ass. He's like, because like if you are on a long ass flight, that's a long flight. If you are a broke ass student, you're a broke student. He's like, why do you got to add the word ass? He's like, but then it changes, because like it can change the meaning of the word, like bad. If you're a badass, that's good. But if you're a dumbass, you're still dumb. So you have to know which word it changes. He goes on about this forever, and it's funny. He's like, also like, if you're he's like I'm trying to think of the other examples. One of them was like, and there's degrees of ass, well, no, it's like, so move your ass, that means move your whole body, not just your ass, like get out of the way. But if you half-ass something, that means like you're not trying hard enough. He's like, but then if you go even smaller, a piece of ass, that's means you're very attractive and hot. He's like, this is so confusing.
Yeah, I bet it would. Yeah.
And it's obviously much more funny listening to him deliver it, because I'm sure my delivery was not very good.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I joined a gym, like an actual gym, like away from my house. Yeah.
What kind of gym?
It takes us. It's a kind of old school. They have a weightlifting platform, and they've got benches, and it's kind of like Quest, if you could think about it. It's kind of like Quest, right? Where it's not high scale, like luxury type of gym. It's like, machines, and some of them work, and there's platforms to lift, and the benches, not all of them are very good. So, but that's been nice to kind of mix it up, because I have been suffering from burnout since like 2016, and kind of breaking out the mold. But the other thing we did is we got a couple of little accessory things for our garage gym, which is something I want to talk about today, because we discovered this really great single leg squat stand, which like as soon as I saw the box, I was like, Dan, what I don't even understand what a single leg squat stand could look like. Like what? So it lets you do split squats with your back leg elevated, kind of like a Oh
Yeah,
my
just
gosh.
little
I
like a
want to.
roller.
Yes, there's a roller in the
Yeah.
back.
Party in the front.
Yes, party in the front, roller in the back. And it has a pad so that your knee can actually go down and touch something. Because especially me with as a very short person, with little short tibias that are like, 6 inches long, I could never do a successful split squat and get my back knee very close. And it always ended up almost feeling like the exercise was more about my back leg than my front leg. And with this little contraption that we got, man, it's all about the front leg. And man, when you train unilateral movements like that, you start to find little imbalances for sure that have always existed that there's no place for them to hide. So my training tip would be to make sure you're getting in those unilateral movements, single leg deadlift, step ups, single leg squats like that. They're great. And for me, adding in something like that was very different, was also another way to kind of get out of burnout, like mixing up locations, getting new, I don't know, toys to play with, which sounds perverted actually. But yeah,
I wouldn't have
and we
thought
also
about
got
that
these.
until you said that.
Sorry, it's where my mind always goes. And we also got these little they're almost like shims, right? But they're for your they go under your ankles so that you can have some of that fake dorsiflexion.
They go under your heels.
Yeah, I'm sorry, they go under your heels. So
I'm trying to
well,
picture it. Like, how do they go under your ankles?
well, they go under your ankles by being under your heels. How's that? Because your heels are connected to your ankles. But it's to kind of work that knee forward under a little bit of weight, which can help with ankle mobility.
Yeah. And overall knee health.
Yeah, and overall knee health too, because my knees are a little cranky.
Yep.
So yeah, good stuff.
Cool.
And Dan has a huge ankle mobility issue on one of his legs. What is my hair doing something funny?
No, there's just an awkward pause there. And after your last comment,
Dan has a huge
and then just awkward
mobility
pause.
problem.
And I would normally not go there, but you just prefaced it with the toys. So I was just like, man, you've screwed up my whole life.
I think the name of this podcast should just be Dan has a huge ... Sorry. Dan has a really big ankle mobility problem because he broke his leg when he was like 11 or 12. And it never quite healed right. And his ankle has always been messed up, which has in turn messed with his squat, because he just can't get low unless he gets his feet really wide.
Yeah.
And for a long time, like that kind of went undiagnosed. So, ankles are, and that ankle mobility is so super important for squat depth.
Yeah.
So.
Agreed. That's why so many people use, the heeled shoe and stuff too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. But the thing that the shims do is kind of let you fake the ankle mobility without even getting into shoes, and you can build them so you can make it even bigger. And then
yeah, well, I think
down.
for general, I guess being in shape, well-rounded, like squatting with different angles is good.
Mm-hmm.
So even doing your single leg squat stuff, like the split squats with different heel heights, would be a good idea.
Yep.
I like it. Lots of toys to play with when we have training weekend. Oh, speaking of, we should talk about scheduling the next team training weekend, because we know the dates for nationals for next year.
Ah, okay. You can at this point pick a date. Cool. Because I can tell you I've got nothing going on. It would be May.
So
June.
Nationals are actually in July this coming year, so it's probably going to be late June.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Late June works. You just tell me the date and I'll block it off.
Okay. Well, I'll look at it and get you the exact date.
Yeah, and if anyone who's listening doesn't know what we're talking about, you need to, because Team Roar training weekend is awesome for Team Roar people. So if you're not part of Team Roar, be part of Team Roar.
There
It's
you
where all
go.
the cool kids are.
Wow.
And karaoke in the barn. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I've already started a list.
Yeah. Song list.
Yes.
Nice. So we're doing. Are you going to come to the holiday party? I
I
just
don't know.
sent
I
you
have to
the
look at
email
that.
the other day, but we're
Yeah.
going to have karaoke there too.
Nice. Karaoke in the basement.
Yeah. And a few other things that I'm not going to discuss or disclose. I will not disclose
Hmm.
yet.
Hmm. And therefore, you can also not discuss.
Correct. We'll talk about it
There you go.
afterwards.
Okay.
We'll do a
After the
reflection.
party. Lessons
Oh,
learned.
speaking of reflection, we had up we were in Ohio last weekend, I think 2 weekends ago, for Thanksgiving/Christmas at my grandma's house. I know it's early for that, but like that's the only time the whole family can get together is like off times. We did a little white elephant exchange, gift exchange, and I got this light up. It's like an LED, it's a makeup mirror. It's an LED makeup mirror, but I wanted it because I cut my own hair in the backyard, and a lot of times I do it at night. So I always am holding like a mirror in one hand and semi holding my phone with the flashlight in the other, while with the clippers trying to do it all. So
Hmm.
I have a makeup mirror now that will take care of two of
Wow.
those things. Yeah.
Wow. So your favorite Christmas gift so far is a makeup mirror.
It's up there. It is up there.
Nice. I still like my foot tambourine.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is that what I got you, or is that what you got me? That's
You
what I
got
got.
it for me.
Right.
And
Because you
it
got me
arrived
something
in a very
ridiculous.
jingly box.
What did you get me though? That was ridiculous you got me. So you did the Bluetooth,
The Bluetooth
skull
hat.
caps before. Those were good though.
Yeah.
That wasn't a response to that.
Yeah. Oh, I
The,
think I got you
the foot tambourine was in response to something stupid you got me.
it was like a giant slinky or something.
Yes, that's what it was. Where is that thing? I actually played with that a lot,
Right?
but I don't know where it is now.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adults. We're
Yeah.
adults.
Hey, random silly things are awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
Good
But
stuff.
I like your single leg squat stand. I actually just looked it up online. I might get one.
Yeah. I think the one we got was made from garage strength or something like that, which was very suiting since it's in our garage.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was a nice little thing. It's very solid. And I can really feel those single leg squats much better in the front leg now.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I
And
see
my
it.
right leg is somehow weaker than my left, which doesn't make much sense because my left leg is the one with the knee that's been destroyed a couple times. So,
Yeah. A lot of times that's what happens. The one that's been like the weaker one, like we just assume is always weaker. So we try to like focus on not
right.
avoiding it, and we end up actually putting more pressure on it. And just
Yeah.
over time
Getting
it
it
gets
stronger.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not a
Ironic.
bad thing. Just once you get to that point, you need to balance it out.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
So, what do we got for a rule book review this week?
Oh yeah, the rule book stuff. So this is a boring one, but it's sticking with the trend of going through all the new exceptions. This first one, so we're in section 2.1.1 talking about meat scales. Super
Mm,
exciting. But anyway, the scale must be electronic digital type and register in increments of 0.05 kilograms or less for national and pro meets, and zero point 0.1 kilograms or less for local, state, and regional meets. The main reason there, and that's actually not new. That's just kicking off the two blue highlights. But the reason for that is to try to minimize the number of people with the same exact body weight. Because in competition, if two lifters tie on total, the lighter body weight wins. But if two lifters tie on total and have the same body weight, then it's whoever achieved the total first wins. And going 2 decimal places like that just minimizes the number of people with the exact same body weight. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. Then 2.1.2.1 says if a competitor exceeds the capacity of the scale, then 2 scales must be used. So basically, 1 foot on each scale, and then you add them together. I've seen that done in the past. So, that's just they just put it in the rule book just to make sure people actually and meet directors know that that's an option. If you have a lifter that, exceeds, the scale capacity, because the scales have to go up to 180 kilos, which is basically 396 pounds. But, we've all seen people that weigh more than that. So what do you do with them? The
Right.
option's 2 scales there if the scale doesn't go that high. Which I wish I would have realized that rule when I bought my scales back in 2010 or 2013. Because we had a lifter that was going to weigh about 500 pounds, and I didn't realize at the time that you could just use 2 separate scales. So I spent a fortune on a scale that went up to 881 pounds, just for this
Wow.
one specific lifter. But it was a great scale. But anyway,
Wow.
I digress. Then section 2.1.3 says the scale must be placed on a level non-compressible surface. Blah, blah, blah. Basically just means you can't put it on carpet. It has to be on like a piece of plywood if you're using a room with carpet, stuff like that. So again, this basically doesn't apply to most lifters because it's not something they have to worry about. But I said we'd go through all the blue highlights, and this is what was up next. So next week it will be a little more exciting.
I mean, meat skills are pretty exciting.
Yeah. We just
I mean,
lost everybody listening, just tuned out at this point.
I'm just picturing 2 scales next to each other, and like, what if you don't have 2 scales that are like not the same height? Would that affect anything?
No, you'd still, I mean, it's
Yeah,
still, I mean,
would
it's
get
not
you
like
what
you
you
would
need.
met. Yeah, you still add them together. You just might have more weight on one than the other. You still add them together.
Right,
It's your total weight. So
right. I just
it,
never would have thought about it.
it would be harder if they're not the same height. It would be harder to get them to like balance though. Like, because if you're like shifting your weight back and forth between the two, then
Mm,
you're never going to get the
right,
same. But yeah, it's every time I've seen it done, it's not been an issue.
right.
But
Well, cool.
leave it to Laura to come up with a reason why it would be an issue. What if it's not the same height?
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right. So our new lifter tip, which we've heard before, is to practice the referee commands.
Yep.
And I would add on that, like, if you get red lighted at a meet, don't just automatically blame the judges or the referees, because I've seen that where someone misses an opener. Oh man, I did get to depth, or I didn't do that, blah blah blah. But if you're not sure what you're getting called on, ask someone. If they're not showing cards, ask someone, because I've
Yeah.
seen that.
And the one I see people complain about the most is the press call. Like, they held me there forever. Well, again,
Hmm.
we've talked about this before, but it's not how long the bar is touching your chest. It's as soon as the bar becomes motionless on your chest that you get a press call.
Hmm.
So for some
Right,
people that might be really, really fast. Other people that might be 2 full seconds that you're just moving the bar around on your chest until it stops. So
right,
when you get a long press call, that's on you.
right. Yep, we're so exciting. Yeah, and I think I've had that experience where someone's called me because they're doing a meet, and the meet's the next day, and hey, what do I need to know? Like, hey, you've been practicing the commands, right? What commands? So trying to give someone a briefing the day before a meet is really not ideal. And of
Yeah.
course, the rules briefing does happen still, but man, know and practice the referee commands before you go.
Yeah. I mean, there's actually 2 lifters that uh I've talked to recently that just started and they're getting ready for the first meet. One of them didn't know that you even had to touch your chest, and the other one, didn't know that, you know, squat depth was the hip below the knee. I mean, so it's like,
Mm,
that's not a big deal that you don't know that, as long as find out before and practice to that standard. So, I mean, that has
right.
changed their training completely because they just weren't doing that and didn't know you needed to. So imagine they show up to the meet never even knowing that, you know,
Right.
so it's just, yeah, do your
Yeah.
research, read the rule book. And that's kind of why we're going through this rule book review. Yeah, it seems boring for some of these things, but like, that could be the difference between bombing out and going 9 for 9. So
Yep.
there you go.
All right. Well, that's all I got, Joshua.
So I want to do something.
Okay.
I want to start a new list. I knew I said I wasn't going to do this, but I think we should do, maybe this was your idea. I don't even remember, but uh best Christmas movies. Did we do that yet?
No.
We
Best
could do
Christmas
Christmas
movies.
songs. We could do Christmas songs, but I think Christmas movies.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's kind of timely. Sure, I'm down.
But I don't really want
I
to
feel
do the
like you already have
list.
a list.
So no, I don't. But I don't want to do all the work to do it. So like that's where I'm like, do I really want to do this? So ultimately, what I want to do is I want people, here's my motivate, my ulterior motive here. I actually want people to vote yes or no whether Die Hard is a Christmas movie. That's really my
That's the entire driving
agenda. That's my
force here.
agenda. That's my agenda here. So I
Wow.
guess we could just do like a poll if we want to be
Yeah,
lazy and lame about it. But
right. I mean, here's the other thing. We could ask people for their Christmas movies and not have that voting part.
that's true.
We could just review them and say, hey, and give it the thumbs up, thumbs down based on our own perception.
Yeah.
We're the judges.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've lost enough. We're doing the voting now.
That's right. Yeah. Right. Because you and I have never won. I got
Right.
close once.
Yeah, I never even got close. So you know what? Playtime's over. We'll decide now.
Right. Yeah. That's fine.
All right,
like
that's
that.
fair.
Less work. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll set that up where people can submit their lists and then we'll say which one's the best.
Right. See
Spoiler
now, and I
alert.
feel like you've tainted people because you've already said that in your view, you hadn't said it, but I think you've said it, that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So now people are going to, put that in their list.
I didn't
based on
say
what
one
we
way or
said.
the other. I didn't say one way or the
Mm,
other.
you didn't. I just took it that way.
You did. It's
I
interesting.
did. Hmm.
So I believe my exact wording was I want to find out if people think Die Hard is a Christmas movie or not.
Right. You didn't say like you agree with
Correct.
me that it's a Christmas movie. Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
The insinuation was purely on my mind.
And I'll tell you what, I'm gonna. So we will do a poll on this, and I will argue the opposite side of whatever the poll says.
Yep. In true Joshua fashion.
Yep.
Nice.
So there you go. That's all I have. I will get that set up. We should be able to start voting, or not voting, start submitting your list next week sometime. And I'll figure out when to put the poll up too.
Yeah. And then we'll
For
just
Die
pass
Hard.
judgment on everyone.
Yeah, right. That should go without saying at this point that we'll pass judgment on everybody else.
Well, and we could put up all the lists and then pick the ones that we like the best and put together our list.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Did we? Hold on. Maybe we did do Christmas movies before. Oh no, I know what we did. We did which characters from Christmas movies would make the best power lifter. That's what we did.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. But we never did straight up Christmas movies.
Correct.
Cool. Okay.
There you go.
All
right. Well, that's what's going to happen.
Sounds good.
All right. Until next week.
Until next week. We haven't said this in a while, but don't forget to follow us on Instagram at PL Ballads Podcast and if you are doing the Georgia State meet, we did start the program this week, but it's not too late to jump on. You can find a link to that in the bio of the Team Roar Instagram. And it's basically a subscription-based monthly subscription. You get access to the training app, the program, our Discord server, so you can ask questions and all that good stuff. So if you haven't signed up and you're on the fence, there's still time. Do it. But other than that, that's all I got.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
Bye now.
Later.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.